So this is Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty, even if it's shitty. And if you've watched my other video on this topic, you may mistake me for a Chidima hater because I have spoken out against Chidima, the symbol. I have stood up for Mia LaRue. I have stood up for South Africa. And I have even tried to contextualize why South Africans have been so angry. But I called this channel Nuance with Nikki for a reason because life is not so cut and dry. There's always a messy, messy middle. So, at the risk of sounding like I'm contradicting myself, which I know that less supple minds will see it as that, I see it as being philosophically consistent, where I speak for the same kinds of values. Okay, where we look at context, we look at nuance, where we don't just have easy conversations. So, whatever, make your judgments as you will. I did try and make it clear in my previous video about this whole topic that I didn't hate Chidima personally. Okay, I actually feel that I spoke very kindly to her, but the level of aggression I believe I showed in that video could give you the wrong impression. So I no longer want to talk so much about Chidima, the symbol. I want to focus a bit more on Chidima, the person, the woman behind that. Okay, because on many levels, there are many things about her that I can actually relate to. Okay, so just to make it clear for those who do not follow, what she represented, Chidima, the symbol, not the human being sitting in front of us right now, what she represented was a straw on the camel's back after years and years and years of illegal activity in our country. Each of us knows too many people who have, gone, tried to get married, found themselves married to someone else, something like that, a lot of the perpetrators tend to include the corrupt officials in our government. I have taken accountability for that many, many times. South Africa is responsible for that. Um, Corrupt people from Zimbabwe and corrupt people from Nigeria primarily. This is not to say that all Nigerians are like that. It's not to say that all Zimbabweans are like that. I know and love many good and principled Nigerians and Zimbabweans. Deeply, truly, truly, I do. But just like South Africa has these syndicates of criminals in our home affairs, there are syndicates from this country. And actually, in the end, it creates so much tension that Nigerians, um, Zimbabweans, and South Africans, well meaning ones who actually want to do good things for this country, become the collateral damage. Okay. But these things have not just included identity theft. It's not just about kids not being able to go to school or people not being able to get a license. These things have included human trafficking. There are many people who've dreamt their whole lives of coming to South Africa and they're told they're coming here to get a job. Next thing, they're getting trafficked. These things have included illegal minors. you know there is a video I made for you guys long ago, but the sound was terrible on it and all, where I showed a story of illegal minors. Basically 60 of them, 8 women, at a modeling shoot in Report. It was 2018. You can go Google that for yourself. It was devastating. Okay, so when it came to Chidima Adechina, I feel many South Africans felt like, wait a minute, you guys have taken all of that from us, taken all of that, and now you even want to become our ambassador? Like, what's next? Being a president? I think that's where a lot of um, the vitriol came from. And I still stand by my country to say we don't start fights, but we finish them. A lot of people don't hear us when we say things respectfully. As you guys get to know us more over the years, you'll see that. We say it the first time, the 10th time, the 11th time. And then, yeah, no, people just don't listen, okay? But that's about Chidima, the symbol. But let's look at this woman in front of us right now, right? I'm going to assume that she was not responsible I mean, obviously she was a baby, but I'm also going to assume that she was completely unaware. But even if she was aware that this happened, I can only imagine what it's like to see yourself one way your whole life, and then suddenly that all falls apart, right? I've actually known an experience like that. I've actually known very intimately what it's like to have people question your identity and to have fingers pointed at you. Um, and even to realize that you're not something or that you don't belong somewhere, right? And as much as she may not have a legal tie to the land, um, she does have a spiritual connection there purely because she was born there. Does that make sense? It'll never not be a part of her. And that's what's heartbreaking. Because I've also known in a much smaller scale the consequence of a family member doing something illegal and how that can impact you for years. Now, Chidima and her mother have been given a chance to respond to Home Affairs, and from what I gather, they didn't. And so it looks like she's going to lose her South African identity. So, a lot of mystery surrounding what's actually going on there. But either way, whether she is this villain that some South Africans believe she is, that she actually knew, or whether she didn't know, or it's confusing, or it's gray area, if she was genuinely oblivious to it, I think all of this must have been humiliating and devastating, absolutely devastating. And if they have messed with her ID now, if she and her mother haven't been able to sort that out, and if it is, because they've been given a deadline to meet and they didn't, if she could never return here, um, what would that feel like? Do you get what I mean? Like long after this is over. And like I said in my video, it's like there'll always be this taint because even the fact that she won Miss Universe Nigeria, that was seen by many, honestly myself included, as you're usurping. She's now got this reputation of the usurper, usurping a South African, then usurping Nigerians who were actually in the contest, and most people were saying, "Look, gladly bring her next year." There is always going to be that little stigma of the pity vote. Do you know what I mean? And that those variables aren't her fault. She's honestly just a goal orientated young woman trying to achieve something and caught up in the storm of other people's rage, right? Intersecting with, I mean, I can imagine from Nigeria's point of view, if they see maybe all the vitriol that South Africans have gathered over the years when, people like well-meaning citizens of Nigeria aren't like that, maybe they don't understand why. Do you know what I mean? And then there's this pushback. But then there's also this thing of trying to make South Africans behave the way they want us to and trying to make us bow our heads, whether that's Nigerians or anybody from any part of Africa or anywhere in the African diaspora or even non-Africans. That one is one we won't take lightly. Do you see what I mean? We didn't go through all the work of building a rainbow nation now to have to fit into your idea of what that is. Do you get what I'm saying? So all of this is complex and it's messy, right? Yeah. Do I think that a surname like Leroux is French? No, I don't. I think it's South African. It's a Buddha surname, right? It's been here for 400 years and you know, it's a valid thing. If you guys can accept Cajuns in America, you can accept Buddha in South Africa. Do you know what I mean? Um, if you can accept Creole people in Mauritius, when Mauritius only had dodos before, you can accept that. So I totally get what South Africans mean with the difference. And do I think it would have been less vitriolic if it hadn't come from Nigeria? Yes, I do. I do think, it would have gone under the radar. Do I think it would have been less vitriolic if she had a potentially part European dad? I'm going to be totally honest. Had there been an illegal thing going on with a European dad, I do think it would be easier for that to fly under the radar, especially compared to Nigerians, but compared to many South Africans and compared to like Pakistanis. you know? But that also has to do with the fact that there is an established culture of crime from those countries. Either way, whatever the reasons are, um, it's not fair that Chidima is caught up in this. It's not fair. Do you know what I mean? Like, whether she was aware of it as a little child and that's how she was raised, or whether she was unaware of it, um, I feel like she's just tossed in the wind of these global issues that she also didn't create. And so, yeah, I absolutely feel compassion for her. I do. I do. I have mixed feelings because I don't like what it represents, what it would have represented. And I don't like the fact that when South Africans stood up against it, the world keeps trying to push us into submission. But that doesn't mean I want this beautiful girl to be collateral damage in this. I absolutely feel um I absolutely feel the pain of having your identity ripped out from under you and the pain of paying the consequence for years. She'll pay it for years. You know, the Adechina crime, that was not her. It wasn't Chidima's crime, it was her family's crime. But the stigma of that um will stay with her. It'll for as long as she's known, it'll be controversial. Um yeah. Actually, if you ever wrote a book on this experience, I think I'd love to read it to see all the nuance. You didn't create this, Chidema. You didn't deserve this either. Sending you love. Yeah, yeah, she does need therapy. I think it's very wise of her. And she had no choice but to suppress it all and just to keep going and to be strong. So, yeah. Listen, so people on both sides of the arguments are going to come for me. Whatever. Do you, boo. This is called Nuance with Nikki. We've got to look at all the shades of grey. We've got to look at every part. So, yes, one can have mixed feelings. Okay? We're human. There's a time and a place to learn. So, yeah, watch both sides of it. And yeah, both sides of my videos is what I mean to say. And see if you can hear some methods in my madness. I don't know. Thank you so much, guys. This has been Nuance with Nikki, the nitty gritty. Even if it's shitty, man, these mixed feelings are very shitty. Okay, sending you love.